Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Anita Sadowska and I'm a swimmer and fashion photographer who shows you what I do and how I do it on this channel. Today I have a really fun video for you. I teamed up with Aftershoot and I wanted to show you how the Aftershoot software compares to the brand new Lightroom Culling. I know when it came out, a lot of people were very interested about it and wondering how it compares because since it is a new feature, we want to see if it works or not. So I'm going to be grabbing a shoot that I did recently with a couple of friends. They are a couple. I have around 900 photos and I want to cut it down to maybe, I don't know, 20, 30, maybe 40. And I want to do it in both Lightroom and Aftershoot and see how they compare. So let's get right into the video. Okay, now that we are ready to go, let's import our folder into both Aftershoot and Lightroom and see how they handle the editing and color grading. It's the couple. Let's start with Aftershoot first and then we'll go right into Lightroom. As you see, it's imported and then we'll do culling, editing, and retouching, or one-click call and edit, which is what I'm gonna do. So before we get started, I just want to upload some of my profiles into Aftershoot. As you see here, I have my AI profiles, and when I create a new profile, you can either do a professional AI profile where you upload a lot of images and it kind of picks up on what you like and what you don't like. We're not going to be doing that today. I think it's very helpful if you work with a large amount of images. For me right now, because I'm just showing it to you, it's too much to do right now. So I'm going to do an instant AI profile. I'm going to select it from my presets and I'm going to use Bali Workshop, and we're going to do next. And we can do exposure adjustment so we can see if we like it darker or brighter. We can just do it in the middle. Then for this, the exposure level, I think we're gonna keep it either in the middle or even on the darker side. Yeah, let's do it a little bit darker. And then again, for exposure, I'll probably keep it a bit darker. And then in terms of colors, I do like mine slightly warmer. In general, I would say, yeah. And in terms of tint, I do like it a little bit more green than I do magenta. So we'll do that. And it generates a profile. So it will take a few seconds and it will find a profile that hopefully will work for these photos. Okay, so we'll do this. We're gonna do call and edit though. So for import, we're going to do one-click call and edit. We're going to do extreme. Next step, we're going to use the Bali preset or the AI profile. We can also choose color profiles, camera portrait. And we're not going to do any AI cropping. We can just do some straightening and then it selects and maybe. Next step, so we have all this. We have extreme, Bali is the AI profile, camera portrait, disabled, enabled, start call. So we're going to let it run. It's going to take a few minutes. And then in the meantime, we're going to go to Lightroom and do the same thing. So let's go to our folder, add folder. We're going to do couple, choose, and then we're going to do assisted culling, unless it freezes, which it looks like it will.
Five hours later.
And then we can kind of see, we're going to just choose subject focus. We can do visual similarity as well. And then, I don't know why it's doing this now. There we go. Okay, so now it's going to run the assisted culling. And we'll see what it comes up with, and then we can auto stack them as well to see what kind of selects it makes and if it does a good job or not. Right now it's just analyzing. It has 97 selects and 1 reject. So I'm wondering how it's going to actually select the favorites and the non-favorites. The problem with iFocus is I don't always get iFocus in photos, and it's okay because sometimes it's just about the mood of the shot. I think that's the main issue with AI in general, that it's kind of hard to tell for AI what you like and what you don't like. You know, you have to be very specific. So hopefully this will work pretty well. I'll just let both of the softwares run. Just going to wait a few minutes for both of them to come up and see what we get. I actually recently just finished a raw vegan retreat that I was shooting. It was a week-long event and I think I had approximately 10,000 photos from it. And I uploaded them all into Aftershoot and I went folder by folder. I had it divided by days. And Aftershoot was able to cull it within minutes. And I went from having approximately 1,200 photos per day to around 500 or 600. The selection that I made wasn't very rigid. I selected few instead of the extreme, just because I wanted to have a bit more option. I didn't want to cut out all the images. And I have to say it did really, really amazingly. All the photos that were there was maybe 4 or 5 rejects out of the 600 something that it selected per day. There was just some photos with like funny faces or things like this, but overall, they were still decent photos. I know a lot of you are wedding photographers or some sort of event photographers and you want to cut your time as much as possible. What I love about Aftershoot is the fact that it does the culling and editing all in one, and then you can also retouch the skin as well, which unfortunately Lightroom doesn't have. This is the beef that I have with Lightroom. It still lacks a lot of functionalities that other AI programs do. And they are definitely taking a step in the right direction, but everything they do right now is still a beta. And I feel like being able to do AI culling and editing and everything in one program is so helpful. Also, I wanted to mention while we're waiting for the photos to edit that Aftershoot is running a Black Friday sale. So normally if you use my code Anita15, you're going to get 15% off of any plans, be it monthly or yearly. But right now they are running an offer where they offer 20% off their yearly plans, which is the lowest their yearly plans have been. So make sure to check it out because it's a great deal and I highly recommend you guys give it a go at least and try the software because I really enjoy it and I think it's really good, and it's really nice to have other alternatives to Lightroom because I have a lot of beef with Adobe over many things, and I do appreciate smaller companies being able to deliver the same result that Adobe does. For Lightroom, now we can do visual similarity as well. So if we do 3 stacks, 4 stacks, 11 stacks, the stacking thing is very confusing to me. I don't really know what it decides on how the stacks change. It's kind of like 82, 83, 90, 105. Like it's a little bit confusing, but we'll go with it. We'll say 118 stacked and 158 unstacked. So let's import and see how it goes. And we'll see how many photos it actually imports. It's a surprise for everybody. So this one does from 1 to 5. So it has 1 star, 2 stars, 3 stars, 4 stars, 5 stars. I'm pretty sure it's going to upload all the images, like to 900 and something. And then from there, we're going to be able to go through the ratings, which is helpful. And then in the meantime, we're almost done with editing on Aftershoot as well. So I'm excited to see how they come out. For the 5 stars, let's see what it selected and let's see what realistically I would select. Yeah, there's a lot of photos that I would consider rejects. I will probably not be having them. I don't know how it compares to Aftershoot. I'll have a look in a second. A lot of them, her eyes are kind of like half closed, which I'm okay with sometimes, but not in this particular situation. Perfect. Okay, so technically I have 72 selects out of that. And obviously, as I mentioned, there's some photos where I feel like the 4s are actually better than the 5s, if that makes sense, which is kind of interesting, but I digress. Okay, let's have a look at the Aftershoot selection and we'll see what kind of photos it picked. I'm wondering if it's gonna do a better selection than Lightroom. So having a look at the shots. Oh, I actually love the fact that it picked the splash up and it picked both of them instead of just the one that was almost before the splash like Lightroom did. I am going to have a quick little peek. Overall, it seems to be doing a really good job at selecting photos. I think it's a better selection than Lightroom. There's obviously some shots where they're still maybe not looking at the camera or their eyes are closed and so on. I think it's kind of unavoidable in this kind of situation, but overall it seemed to do a way better job than Lightroom. Obviously this is 105 images, so I would still cut it down to maybe 40 to 50 images max, but overall this gives me a really good base to just work with these photos and have a way faster work environment where, you know, I just have to go through 100 images instead of 200 or 300 and something. So overall I'm actually really impressed with the selection that it made. Okay, now that we have the culling done, let's see how it does with editing, or how it did with editing, I should say. So this is the edit, and I really like it. I think it's a little bit on the green side, so I might fix it just a little bit. I do like the colors though. I think it does complement the image a lot. So I'm going to go into adjust profile, and right now these are my settings, so I might go maybe +5 on this just to kind of balance out the greenery a little bit. So I'm gonna do 6 and 6 for those. It's the AI correction. And then for the tone, I might actually go +1 and see how it goes. Let's do save settings, and then we're going to restart the editing and edit again and see how it works. So we're gonna give it a few minutes. I think it usually takes around 60 seconds, and we'll go from there. Okay, it's finishing up now. Let's see how it works. Okay, let's see. That's actually much better. I really like it. It is a little bit on the brighter side with the exposure now, but I think I do actually prefer it rather than having them being too dark. So I'm actually really happy with the colors now. It's pretty neutral, but in a good way. I think it works really, really well. So we're just gonna leave it at that. So as you see, you have the option of adjusting your profile. So if you do something and you're not 100% sure if you like it, you can pretty easily adjust it and go from there. But this is a really, really nice edit. And now we are going to be able to export these photos and move them onto retouching. So unfortunately, with Aftershoot right now, you do have to export these images to put them back into retouching. It's a bit of a roundabout way, but they do know about it and they are working on fixing it. So I think it's just a matter of time before they do. So we're gonna do some exporting of the images. I'm gonna export them into the folder, and then we're gonna edit. Okay, so this is the same preset that I applied in Aftershoot in Lightroom right now. And as you see, it's okay. There's definitely some adjusting I would have to do. It's very blue and I don't really love it that much. I will have to definitely switch some things. I think the shadows and the blacks are way too dark, so there would be some adjusting to do for sure. It's okay, but it's not my favorite. This is pretty fine though. But unfortunately, this is where my journey with Lightroom ends, and this is where Aftershoot really shines, because there is no retouching option in Lightroom. This is as far as I can take it. If I want to do any adjustments, I could maybe do a little bit of masking and just masking out maybe some texture in the skin, but that's basically it. I cannot do anything else. So I will have to switch to my Aftershoot and do full retouching from there. Okay, I think this is a pretty good photo to retouch, so let's have a look. We're gonna do some acne. She has some freckles. I'm actually gonna leave the freckles in because I don't really want to change them. We have all subjects, masculine, feminine, so we could, for example, just edit the, just Agathan photos. If we select the feminine or masculine, we would just edit him. I'm just gonna do all of them because I don't really care. I'm doing a very light edit, so it doesn't really matter. She, as I mentioned, has freckles, so I'm gonna leave them in. For wrinkles, she doesn't really have any. We can do some like smile lines or forehead, but there's really nothing. For the teeth, we can do brighten a little bit and then maybe whiten. I would actually do whiten instead of brighten because her teeth are already pretty bright and I don't want them to look unnatural, so this is actually pretty nice. For the face, we could do smoothen and brighten. It's actually brighten and smoothen. And then remove shine. She doesn't really have any shine. She has a pretty good face in terms of, imperfection, so it's not really needed. For eyes, let's maybe see if we can find another photo where their eyes are open. I have a little portrait. There we go. We're gonna work on this portrait for the rest. So we're gonna do, again, acne, spots, though she doesn't really have any. Some wrinkles, there isn't really any either, but you get the point. For face, we'll do brighten, smoothen. There's not really any shine. For eyes, let's do eye brighten a little bit. There we go. And then eye bags. Again, she doesn't have much, but we could always adjust it. There we go. For hair, she doesn't have many flyaways. There's a few here and there though, so it's not really a big deal for this particular shot, but I think it will help. And then for the body, we'll do smoothen and blemish. I always like to smooth the skin on the body because otherwise it might not match. So it's very helpful to have both. And I think it looks great. So once we have that, we'll do sync, and then the settings will apply to all the other photos, which is pretty amazing. It's going to take a few minutes, and then we're going to have our photos culled, edited, and retouched all within a matter of maybe 20-30 minutes, which is amazing in my opinion. So if you are looking to potentially switch or use something that is of Lightroom's quality, but just having everything in one program, I think Aftershoot is actually a great option for you, because as you see in terms of selections and in terms of what it delivers similar results. However, you get the retouching as well. And for me, it's like the biggest perk, because as I mentioned, unfortunately with Lightroom, it does not have that option. And it is very frustrating because we pay a lot of money to Adobe, and unfortunately it does not deliver what it needs to deliver. Having this option here of having that edit as well, all in one program, so you don't have to go in and out of different programs. One thing that I will say is, I know it's kind of inconvenient that you have to export the photos first and then upload them to the retouching section. And I think that Aftershoot is very aware of that, and they are working on fixing that and making sure that it's all seamless from one to the other. I will say that this is why I love supporting smaller brands like this one, because when it comes to Adobe, let's be honest, they do not care about our opinions and what we have to say. It's very hard to get in touch with them if there's any issues. Here you have a small group of people that are working on the product, and they want to make sure that your needs are met. So there's a way easier way to get in touch with them, give them your opinions, ask for things to be changed in the program. And that's what I love about Aftershoot as well. There is way more person-to-person connection rather than Lightroom, where it's just like robotic. You can't get in touch with anybody. Anytime you have an issue, good luck. And having that option of also editing your photos, I think is a game changer, especially for people like wedding photographers, where I feel like offering it as an extra option to your packages can really make your photos stand out, and having an option of doing it in one click just makes your life so much easier, and keeping it all within one program is very, very helpful. I hope you guys liked it. Let me know your thoughts. Again, make sure to check out their Black Friday offer for the yearly subscriptions. It's the best offer you're going to get for the rest of the year, and maybe till next year. And I hope you enjoy editing. So if you guys did like this video, please give it a thumbs up, please subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.